I'm Chad Rutherman.
And I'm Andy Kinnick.
And welcome to NOCLIP Pocket. It's a clip in a glass. Today, we're going to be talking about Year Walk, which was a game that was released on iOS devices in 2013 and was later ported to Windows, OS X, and the Wii U. Year Walk, it was developed by Simogo. I hope I'm pronouncing that even a little bit correctly, as it is a Swedish developer. And so, Year Walk is an adventure game, but it takes some liberties, I guess, with the genre to make it sort of a more interesting, more clean. I don't know how you want to describe it.
It's kind of experimental, I guess.
And which is sort of kind of a through line with this particular developer. I've played Device 6, but I haven't played anything else that they've done. But it is always sort of, they like taking advantage of the phone, the simplicity of phone controls to try and do something kind of out of the ordinary. Mm-hmm. But you played it on Wii U, right?
Yes, I only played the Wii U version. And from what I can tell, there are a couple of differences, but nothing major. Mm-hmm. They changed the interface a bit, and they gave you a map and a note-take jotting ability because you have the stylus and the gamepad, but
all this audio is going to be really good on air, so I'm just going to leave it in. But I'm going to lean over here real quick. I also took notes, but I didn't have a page for it. So I have this, what looks like...
Nice.
Yeah, like a serial killer's coded message written on this page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I love that. I like actually taking notes on a real sheet of paper. But
I agree. I think I mentioned it. Maybe we both mentioned it on the what's that? What's the Double Fine adventure game? Broken Age.
Yes, Broken Age.
On the Broken Age episode, we talked a bit about how that game actually sort of makes you have to take real notes, and the novelty of that has not really worn off. I still like doing it.
Yeah. Well, I can't deny the appeal of the convenience of the gamepad, though.
Oh, that's true.
Because I just played through this when I got home from work today.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, man, I had to, remember all this stuff. And I was like, oh, wait.
Cool gamepad,
I have a notepad right here.
Does it have multiple pages, or does it just scroll forever?
It's just the one little gamepad screen, so you have to manage your space.
Because I did manage to fit my notes on one page.
Well, I mean, unless I'm stupid and it is more than I thought. But
it does seem but I just started at one point after the first puzzle where you or the first puzzle that I did. I don't know if it's purely linear in that, but where you have to spin the doll head and then it points in directions, which is his top note here.
Yeah,
I just started writing everything down just in case, because I didn't want to walk all around again.
Yeah, as soon as I started seeing the tombstones, I was just like, oh, we'll write that down, draw that picture, all that good stuff.
Yeah, but the fact that I had to take notes, in addition to this being just an adventure game, and this is kind of a trait of adventure games generally, this game's actually way harder than I remembered it being. Or at least I didn't walk away from it initially with that being one of the traits of the game.
I had the opposite experience. I remembered this game being really challenging, and I just breezed through it. And I mean, I'm sure the game is challenging, but a lot of it felt really familiar to me, and was able to intuit things easier because I had done them before, Yeah,
I guess that makes sense. The trick with so I played it on a phone this time for the first time, and I gotta say the controls are not what you would call intuitive. There are things that I think they did a cool job with, there's one of the ghost babies that you have to find in order to it has its blood dripping up. And so you have to turn your phone.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, to face the other direction for it to get him to show up. I think that is all well implemented. But then after you grab a ghost, you have to remain holding the screen with one hand and then scroll with the other hand to walk.
Yeah,
and that gets a little bit tedious.
Yeah, that was a lot better on the console version because you just hold it down with the right trigger. and then are just able to walk with the analog stick.
Yeah, that's a lot smoother.
Yeah, but you bring up that specific phone feature, Ghost Baby. They actually don't have that one in the Wii U version. They do something unique with the Wii U version where they hide one of them on the gamepad in the manual. Just pull some straight up Hideo Kojima bullshit. Because you have a little like encyclopedia tab that just gives you like information on the different folklore, which is cool. But once the Ghost Baby challenge starts and you're looking for them, if you look down at it, you can see that the tab for the encyclopedia is like bloody. So then you click on it and then you see the page for the Mylings.
Yeah.
And then you scroll down to the bottom of it and it's hiding on the page.
Okay, yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Honestly, it's even clearer that I think a lot of Kojima's shit has tended to be.
Yeah, but I know we had to look it up. Mm-hmm. We were just running around the map. Like, I didn't realize that tab wasn't always bloody.
Right. That's well, now I can only go into two things. The first thing, the encyclopedia tab, the version of that's on the phone is the companion app, which if you played this game and didn't get the companion app, do it. It's like actually super interesting. Like I love the way that they sort of interpreted the different pieces of folklore. I'm making the assumption that the things that are said in the encyclopedia or in the companion app are 100% like true things, like they're things that are actual folklore.
I would imagine.
Yeah, I because there's no like disclaimer that's like, but this isn't really what. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like the concept of year walking as a thing that people did is sort of has been like expanded to include a lot of other pieces of folklore for the purposes of the game. But the way that they've incorporated the other like characters into the game was very interesting, and I did it genuinely good and spooky.
Yeah. I definitely like the Brook horse.
Yes, the Brook horse. We've talked so many times, and I hate horses in video games. I like this horse.
Yeah.
This is a good horse.
An anthropomorphic suit-wearing horse, man.
that lives underwater.
Yes.
Fish horse.
In a brook.
I don't remember what that second thing I was going to talk about was, so we can just move to something else.
But yeah, I just wanted, just while we're on that subject, I like how it took me just long enough to realize that the different symbols were all the different characters that show up, like the girl, the horse, the baby, and the goat. Are all the folklore characters you meet through the game. Yeah, and it's probably like this in the encyclopedia as well. They have like an illustration that matches the symbol that like denotes each page, which is cool. Oh, I do remember, because I had to look something up in my playthrough today as well, and it was the thing that games do that I don't begrudge them for doing, but hate it when I encounter it, which is I had to match notes to things that I was hearing, and I can't do it. Yeah, I mean, even as somebody who plays multiple instruments, or at least used to, that was hard. I couldn't understand exactly what I was supposed to be doing, but was able to solve it anyway. But I don't know if you're supposed to be like doing a scale, or if you're looking for which note is in tune.
That is my assumption.
Because a lot of them I noticed were out of tune, but like sometimes I was like, these sound like the same note, but like one's slightly flat or sharp and the other one's in tune.
Right.
And like so I couldn't tell exactly, but the notes did seem to be getting progressively higher, so I think it's like a combination of the two.
Right. I was trying to match it to the background.
Yeah, well that's how you tell. That's like, I think the hint. Mm-hmm. As they'll say, because when you go over the different notes, you know, that you hear that like dissonant vibrating when the note's out of tune.
I'm sure some people do.
Yeah, well, maybe you don't, but
I mean, I could tell when it was pretty drastically out of tune, but the third one gave me so like I hit the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I was hitting the same wrong things. I wasn't
Over
keeping
and over
track.
again. Yeah, I think it was the fourth one that gave me trouble because there were two notes that sounded really similar.
By the time I was on the fourth one, I had a guide up that just told me to go to the seventh one. I was like, okay, got it.
But yeah, no, that one's just it's hard to understand, like, intuit what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you have no musical experience, then you're kind of up shit creek.
Yeah. There should really be, like games have, like, colorblind modes to help with people with color blindness. There should be a tone-deaf mode. Where it, like, plays a rhythm and you have to figure out the one that's not offbeat or something. I can do that. That's what I'm capable of doing.
Right.
Let's see. Brook Horse. This game genuinely is, like, creepy as hell.
Yeah, it's got I think that comes from, like, the isolation atmosphere of it. Because I love the sound design a lot. The crunching snow footsteps. And, it hits that tone really well. And it makes it, when you do run across something, feel really, like, actually startling, kind of. Mm-hmm. Like, you just walk over to the corner of one part of the map, and then there's, like, the woman is just there. And you're like, oh. You actually, like, kind of jump a little.
Yeah. And that happens repeatedly throughout it, and I do agree in praising the sound design for making that sort of work. There are, like, two instances where they've inserted, like, a jump scare, which seemed, like, somewhat out of place. I think the one in the windmill was actually really well done. It startled me for sure, but the other one that's, like, in the wheelbarrow was a little bit...
Oh, yeah.
It seemed a little strange that it was there.
Well, the one in the windmill actually makes sense, because it's where you met with whatever your girlfriend's name is.
Something with an S. Yeah.
Like Stina or something.
That sounds pretty correct.
But yeah, so that one at least has some context.
Yeah. The rest of the scares, as they were, mostly came from this game's, like, really, like, storybook art style clashing with the thing. It's got like a Babadook feel, if that resonates with you at all. Yeah.
Like that kind of a horrible subject matter and, like, a kid's illustration style.
Yeah. I don't know, I enjoyed the atmosphere of this game pretty much thoroughly from start to finish. Mm-hmm. And that included the, like, bizarre tangent of, like, reading the journal of some crazy guy in the companion app to get the symbols to unlock the box at the end. Yeah. Like, that just sort of added to it for me in a way that I kind of wasn't expecting, given that it was, like, a post-game thing.
Yeah. Now, I just think the concepts of, like, doing a year walk lends itself really well to this kind of a game, surprisingly well, and it works as a good base to insert other folklore into. Like, it's a really, like, well considered idea, I think.
Yeah, the folklore thing. This is a bit of a sidestep, but like, we've seen this now a couple of times recently. Like, this seems to be, like, a new trend, because I can't really think of any games in the past few generations that have used folklore as their base, whereas this game, as well as, like, was it Never Alone, which is the Inuit girl with the fox, and then you played a Switch game that had some sort of folklore as its basis.
Did I?
It was real recent. It was like a weird 3D platformer game.
A weird 3D platformer game.
So I remember waking up and coming out into the living room and you were playing this game, and now I've never seen you play it again, so your confusion right now.
Oh, okay, Mulaka.
I'm glad that I didn't dream that.
Okay, no, I just, I don't know why, for some reason, the way you were describing it was not ringing any bells.
I mean, that's fair.
Even though you were describing it fine.
But yeah, I hope that this folklore thing continues as a trend, because the games that it produces are super imaginative.
Yeah, or even Severed is a good example.
Yeah, Severed is another one.
I think it's always like folklore has always influenced popular fiction, but it does seem like it's kind of a recent trend, at least in video games, to put it at the forefront.
Yeah, like you could make the argument that like Pokemon is really heavily influenced by folklore, because
like fantasy in general, but
they're not based on it,
right?
Or rather, they're not focused on it,
right?
So that was cool.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely into it as well.
On the topic of the sound design, there's one thing which the like crunching snow footsteps. I felt broke immersion one time ever for me, which is during the puzzle where you have to like go around the church a bunch of times, which, because it was so repetitive and like the actions take, that's like the worst part of the game, which is like high praise, because it was one moment of the game that I was like a little bit bored.
I don't like that puzzle either.
Yeah, which I'll have to ask in a second how you actually got the solution for that one, but the like walking around made me realize that like the first person perspective and the fact that you're going around the church means that your character is either walking with his head at a complete 90-degree angle, or he's like doing a weird sidestep crab walk thing. Both explanations I love.
Well, walking around it with your head turned really isn't that weird.
It's not, but like it would. It's a little weird,
I guess.
Give me that. No, how do you find the solution in the Wii U version?
I don't remember. Okay. Actually, like, I know we solved it legitimately the first time we played it, and I keep saying we because I played this with a group of people the first time.
Right.
But this time I got to it and was like, oh, I remember this being really difficult. I don't want to bother. And just looked it up.
Oh, like what? Like the directions you're supposed to go. Because I know in the Wii U version, because I just looked at it, there's a tombstone that shows up, but it's just blank, and it has like some runes and then the
eyeballs,
the grim at the top.
Oh yeah.
And in the iOS version, there are 2 fingerprints on it, sending a pretty clear message that you're supposed to just press it with 2 fingers, and when you do that, it gives you the information you need to.
Okay.
It like gives arrows.
Oh, you know what?
Here.
Okay. Well then, the way you solve it is you probably have. There's one that it's got 6 dots on it, and you're probably just supposed to tap them.
Oh, like in order?
Yeah. And yeah, but I didn't think to do that because there's a bunch of other ones that have like shapes on them, and I thought they were part of a set that would be the answer to a different puzzle.
Right. The shapes thing, from what I recall, like so. This is very cool, and if this game was a little bit longer, which I don't begrudge it being a short game, it's for phones,
right?
But because you can create like what is basically a codex of like symbols to numbers by comparing the symbol and dot count in the walls of that cave, plus I guess it's like a bunker or whatever, and then the symbols and the animal or like whatever other symbol counterpart on the trees. And if this game had like more to it, there was like they basically have like a short like code system or like an alphabet even that exists within the game, and like some of the symbols don't even get used. I don't know, it was just very neat, and like a lot of things like could have bled into other puzzles if they had committed to a longer game.
Yeah, but I think as it is, they do like just enough that you're able to like keep everything in mind. Like the map is just big enough. I think there's just enough little details, and it never gets overwhelming.
Right. Yeah, and because the iOS version doesn't have a map, I was pretty frequently just like running around like completely lost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it was just kind of like, I see the wheelbarrow. I know I've been here before. Let's go backward a little bit.
Yeah, I was thinking as I was playing, I feel like everything's like distinct enough that I wouldn't need the map, but I did keep using it because it was there.
Right. I can't say that I blame you. I probably would have used a map if I had access to one.
God, I had something to say. Oh, the game's length. I just kind of wanted to touch on a little bit because here at the NoClip podcast, we are like notedly fans of short games, but I feel like this one really left me wanting more so than a lot of other games. Like I really wish this game was a little bit longer.
Yeah, and not only that, but because of the lockbox and the companion app and that shit, they could have put in like what is effectively like a new game plus, like just another thing to do.
Yeah, like some kind of a second walk.
Yeah,
year 2.
Year 2 walk
again.
Year 0 with Jack Black and Michael Cera walk. All right, fine. Let's not bring Michael Cera into this. Don't drag his good name through the mud. And there are 2 areas, like the part where you have a crow explode out of a bird.
Oh yeah,
is just like a one screen area, and then there's the like dream world where it's, I guess, fall instead of winter. Both of those are like geographically like areas that have a position that you wouldn't have to like explain. You wouldn't have to have Manus's hand to pull you into the past to get it to work out.
Yeah, and it just seems like they could have expanded on it without like too much like hassle.
Yeah, you don't want to be like...
You wouldn't have to like majorly redesign anything.
Exactly. You don't have to be like lazy devs.
Yeah.
Greedy devs.
But I mean, I guess I mean it in kind of a good way. Like it makes me want to see another game, like to check out this developer's other games. So
yeah, from my experience, and I haven't checked up on them since this game came out in 2013, but and I think I played it in like 2015, but I'm not positive. Anyway, their tone is all over the place. Like they don't always do games like this, and this game was actually adapted from a screenplay, which is insanity.
Yeah, I read that as well.
Because I would love to watch this movie as much as I liked to play the game.
Yeah.
But all that said, like they even playing some of their other games, nothing quite scratches the itch that Yearwalk creates. We desperately need an expansion. Is what I'm saying.
Yearwalk 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, Yearwalk, the old hunters.
Yearwalk with me.
Yes, Yearwalk with
the
me.
Twin Peaks
crossover.
Yearwalk crossover.
Who killed that Swedish name? That would have worked better if I'd remembered the character's name. Who killed Daniel Sturgenstrom? Any Swedish people listening to this podcast, I apologize profusely. How do you feel about this? Albeit you played it on Wii U, but how do you feel about this type of game being made like specifically for phones? Because this has been like the past 2 episodes that we've done have been phone games, and I'm sure that it will be a recurring theme in the future that we'll probably talk about other phone games.
Right.
And it's such like a often maligned like platform for video games,
right,
that this developer that essentially develops exclusively for phones and is still sort of like an art house game design studio. I don't know, like, do you think that they've pulled it off in a way that is unique to phones in some way?
Yes and no. I think it seems kind of almost impossible to develop a game that would only work on an iPhone, since there's so many other touchscreen devices now that you could put it on.
True.
But I think that this developer and whoever developed Monument Valley and even Drinkbox with Severed, like those are all three like actually good games and aren't just like Temple Run,
Right.
or like not to specifically shit on Temple Run or anything, but
Next
just
week
like
we're going to be talking about Temple Run.
or
No.
like just some kind of like a time sink phone game. Like they're actually fun and engaging. But that being said, I think I would probably have enjoyed this less if I played it on a phone rather than a console.
Yeah, that's the catch-22 when you're developing a phone game, is that you essentially have to utilize the mechanics of a phone, meaning like the actual mechanical build of the phone, in order to make it unique. And to justify it being something on a phone as opposed to on another console, because developing for PC is just as easy, if not easier, depending on what operating system you're working with.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're trying to develop something that's not a time waster, something that's that's narrative and has like a purpose or like a story to tell or wants to be immersive in any way, you have to really fight to be like, no, phone is the place for this. You have to do this on a phone.
Yeah, I would say Monument Valley does a better job of being specifically a phone game.
Yeah, having played both the iOS and Wii U versions of this game, you would just, given the opportunity, you'd probably pick the Wii U version.
Mm-hmm. I think it lets the art shine a bit nicer as well, the bigger screen.
That's true. However, the Retina display is real nice. I'm not trying to be like a shill for Apple. I genuinely really like the Retina display. So on that note, on that corporate shilling, do we have final thoughts?
I like this game a whole lot.
Cool, thanks. On my final thought,
if for some reason you haven't played the game and have listened to this whole thing, definitely pick it up. The game is cheap. Mm-hmm. I would recommend playing it on the Wii U if you have one, but you almost certainly don't.
Right.
So pick it up on your phone or like an iPad or whatever. It's got all the NOCLIP buzzwords in there. It's atmospheric. It's like a tone piece. It's got cool folklore, unique art style. And it's a really polished game. It's really short, so the whole thing is high quality all the way through. You won't regret spending your time on it.
True, and you also probably won't regret spending your money on it.
Well, yeah, that
it's
either.
Like a $4 game.
Yeah.
Having played it on the phone, I will say, in addition to that getting the phone version of this game is not severely detrimental, but like, probably be nearby an outlet, because it ate through my phone battery like it was a sub sandwich. But no, my final thoughts overall on this game are that I'm really happy that we chose this to kick off the October episodes of NOCLIP Pocket with, because of the games that we have picked out, I suspect that this one's going to be the most legitimately frightening.
Yeah.
And the others are just sort of more in theme,
right,
of scary and horror. So yeah, I mean, I like this game. I'm not like huge on puzzles generally, because I'm stupid. But I do like adventure games, and I just like everything about the presentation of this game made it so effective all the way through. So, thank y'all for listening to NOCLIP Pocket this week.
What are we talking about next time?
Next time, we're going to be talking about a Nintendo Switch game to skew it in the direction of portability. We're talking about Night Trap, and specifically the 25th anniversary edition of it that was re-released last year on consoles. So, hopefully that'll be an enjoyable time.
And to defend our choice, Night Trap fits into it's pocket-sized. It is a very short game.
That is true. And the Switch is
portable.
Fits in pockets. Our main demographic owns Genko jeans.
Yes. You're going to have to, once again, whip out those Genko jeans for this episode.
No lie, I actually fit my Switch in my back pocket sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that. Or at least if I could, I'd be way too paranoid about accidentally sitting on it or having it fall out.
Fair. I did the like anxiety I feel going from here to the car and then from the car to another location is usually not as much that I won't do it. So,
right.
Yeah. Anyway, until that time, you can get a hold of us. All of our contact information is on noclippodcast.com, where you can find our email address, our Twitter at noclippodcast, YouTube, all that good shit. See our previous episodes and our previous episodes of the main show, which are a lot longer. And I guess today, happy anniversary us, and listen to our Dumb Goops episode that also went up. Thanks for listening, and don't kill a girl with a knife.
Make sure to turn the video upside down to find the ghost baby to get the key to the subscribe button from the Brook horse.
This was a severe oversight on our part where we locked the subscribe button to make it impossible to subscribe unless
we
you
had to
solved
be
the
on
puzzle.
theme. We had to put a puzzle in the way.
Exactly. People are gonna be like, I don't think there's anything going on with that subscribe. Today we're gonna be talking about you laugh at those jokes. It makes them sound real sad when there's not
The audience is supposed to laugh at the joke, not me.